And there we go. We should be live. Hello to anyone that is watching this on YouTube after the fact. Even though most people don't really watch live streams after the fact, I just thought I'd say that. Why not? Alright, hope you guys are doing good. Just gonna let people get in. Gotta get the chat up, all that, so I can see live streams after the fact. That is me. Alrighty. Hey, Caterpillar Cookie. How you doing, dude? Hope the stream is sounding good. Just let me know if the camera's sounding good, the mic quality, because this isn't obviously my normal camera. I feel like that can be seen straight away because this is actually my old webcam that I used to record on. It's what was most compatible with OBS and what I had to work with. So just let me know if it's sounding right and all that good stuff. All right, nice. I just want to say, Caterpillar Cookie, I love that you always pop up whenever there's a stream just on the dot. Like, that's pretty sick, dude. Thank you so much for that. So, obviously, this is just a Hangout and a Q&A stream, just like the title suggests. So, just hanging out with you guys for a bit. If you have any questions, you can leave them below about opinions, about music. Ask whatever you want. Talk about whatever you want. Sup, RJ? Sup, Protokai? What's up, man? Snoochies Boochies. It's poetic. That is very poetic. I would expect nothing less from a rap battle creator. But thank you guys for tuning in. Notification squad, I'm guessing. So, Caterpillar Cookie, thank you for always popping in whenever I do one of these live streams. So, it should be fun. This is a little bit different. This is the first Q&A stream, Hangout stream, whatever you want to call it, since I kind of changed my formula to music-related content. So, this is kind of my first outing into a regular live stream that's not just, playing a game or whatever. It's not like I have really anything to go by. I'm just in the normal area, so I hope it sounds good, looks good, we all have a good time, all that good stuff. Hey, Frosty. So, for all of you that don't know, Frosty and Caterpillar have just been constant fans for literally pretty much this channel's entirety. It is so awesome that they still pop up whenever I choose to do a live stream. I just think that is awesome. So thank you guys for popping in, obviously. Be sure to share the stream if there's anybody that you think might enjoy it or have any questions about music. Shoot your questions at me and I will answer them to the best of my ability if I am, able to. Because, excuse me, some things, aren't very answerable. Aren't really able to. That Coke is a little flat. Why did I choose this as my drink? It's really not. It's kind of flat. I should have got some water stuff. So, yeah, you guys got any questions about music? Me? We're just hanging out, chilling. If any of you have watched that review that I just uploaded of the Clipping album, just want to say thank you so much for that. The support on that video so far has been more than I would have anticipated, and I have a theory that it was because I think I was the first person in the music review scene to review that. So if I don't know, I think it's just because I was the first. All right. Caterpillar Cookie said, Jay Morris, why? I'm guessing you're asking. I just want to verify. Are you asking why I picked the name, why the channel's named that, or is there something else? Because if it's about why I'm named that, I can answer that. Okay, Brodekai asks, what are your thoughts on Because of the Internet by Childish Gambino? I think that a lot of the deep cuts are kind of weak. The singles were pretty good off of that record, and I honestly think that some of Childish Gambino's EPs, succeeded in what he was trying to do on that record even more so than that record did. A while back I was actually planning on doing a worst to best albums from Childish Gambino, but I didn't know if I should include EPs or if I shouldn't include EPs, so I just kind of didn't end up doing that. But Because of the Internet, it's a pretty good record, I would say. I want to see what Childish Gambino's able to do next. I will say I prefer Awaken My Love by leagues, although they're so uncomparable by album standards, but Awaken My Love is the preferred album from Childish Gambino if I'm going to go back to him. I actually own Awaken My Love on physical copy. Caterpillar Cookie said yes. So Jay Morris, it just comes from my name. My name is Julian Morrison, so it just kind of slides off the tongue, and I wanted to abbreviate it because, you know, if I did my full name and like let it carry on with the review guy, it just would have been such a massive name. At first, I was kind of thinking of doing it for anonymity reasons, but that's not really something I'm that worried about because, to be honest, it's not something that I care that much about because I am quite private with my own privacy and my private information and stuff like that. Like, I'm not going to go around sharing address and what city I'm from, and it's my name. I'm sure there's a lot of Julian Morrisons out there. Frosty here, what are your thoughts on LMFAO? Gimmicky, I will say that. They have some couple of good songs that I think were sticky, but they came around a time period that I've noticed has been fading a little bit as we reach the latter half of the 2010s, of just gimmicky tracks that have some sort of dance behind them, have some sort of catchy chorus behind them. You know, your that Elvis track, What Does the Fox Say, and you had LMFAO, and you had Psy's Gangnam Style, and then Psy tried to follow that up with, you know, he tried to follow that up with like Gentleman and Hangover with Snoop Dogg, and he could just never reach that peak. So I think the closest you would kind of get to that is a track like, say, Gucci Gang, or maybe a track like Mo Bamba, or even Mo Bamba and Old Town Road still have replayability, and they have decent lyrics behind them and a decent, you know, catchiness to them. So I wouldn't necessarily go as far as to say that it's gotten worse. I think the quality of these gimmicky tracks have gotten better, honestly. Jay Morris, what's your thoughts on Igor by Tyler, the Creator? I covered Igor. If you go back through the... If you go back through my videos, I actually covered Igor. The review actually did quite well. I think Tyler, the Creator, took a really interesting approach. It was a bit of a shock for me because coming off of Flower Boy, I wasn't really sure what he was going to be able to follow Flower Boy up with, because Flower Boy was such a good step up from Wolf and from Goblin, in my opinion, although I still bop the hell out of tracks like Colossus. Flower Boy was so good, and then he came out with Igor, which was this breakup album that was completely different, on a completely different trajectory than anything he had done prior in his entire career. Like, he had dabbled occasionally in some of those jazz and those neo-soul elements on Flower Boy, but I don't think anyone could have anticipated that he was going to go so off-kilter on Igor. I liked it quite a bit. The vocals were a little off-putting at first to me. It's grown on me a little bit. I believe I gave it a 7 originally. It'd probably be about a 7.5, if not an 8 at this point, because I think that at first, you can think, this has bad mixing, this has bad vocals, but I don't actually think it does. I genuinely think it's a very good album, and I'm curious to see if Tyler's going to continue on this trajectory, because he's always evolving, he's always changing throughout his career, and I'm so curious to see what he's going to do going forward, if he's going to follow up on Igor's sound. Imagine Childish Gambino against Tyler, the Creator. that actually would not be... You know what, RJ? That's not a bad idea. That is not a bad idea at all. Because if you think about it, that kind of makes sense. Because they were both like rappers that kind of turn into more R&B artists, I guess, if that makes sense. And they both have other endeavors beyond their music. Like Tyler, the Creator, is involved with fashion, which that dude's aesthetic. That dude's aesthetic is so damn good. I love his aesthetic. Like, if I could pull off half the outfits that Tyler, the Creator, sports and makes and wears, I would. But, yeah, that would not... And then, obviously, Donald Glover's, like, an actor and stuff. That'd be a good matchup. I don't know if I'll do it, but that definitely could be fun. What up, Jay? Sup, just joshing? What's up, dude? Sup? You're from Chris's channel, aren't you? You're from, you came from, the Underground Metal Gamer. That is awesome. Welcome, dude. Welcome. Thanks for stopping by. Still bopping that Slipknot album, I bet. Hey, Fight Marker. What's up? What's up? Hey, Anna. The Peanut Butter asks, Jay, do you think nu metal will have a total resurgence? Total resurgence? Probably not. I don't think it will ever get complete and utter resurgence for commercial success as it did in the late 90s and early 2000s, because they were taking a style of rock and of metal and making it a lot more commercially viable than, you know, a lot of other bands that were their contemporaries that were coming out of the, you know, the post-grunge movement. But that was also around the same time that post-grunge was starting, which is interesting because both nu metal and post-grunge have had that kind of built-up success in the 2000s and 2010s. Nu metal itself, there's not many bands doing nu metal nowadays. You still have bands that were around back then still making music, like Korn just dropped their new album, Limp Bizkit's still making music, I believe, and, you know, the Korn's new album I enjoyed quite a bit, although a lot of these nu metal bands are kind of leaning more towards alternative metal at this point, so it's kind of hard to predict if nu metal is going to have a resurgence. But if you're into metalcore, obviously there's the new metalcore subgenre, like King 818. I forget how you say that band's name. And then you have some of Kane Hill's stuff. There's a lot of metalcore bands incorporating some nu metal. And even on Bring Me the Horizons, That's the Spirit, and Amo, they incorporated some nu metal. So, bottom line, do I think nu metal is going to have a full resurgence? It's up in the air. I don't know. It definitely could, but I don't think it will ever be as strong and as fierce as it was in the 2000s and late 90s. I could use some peanut butter right now. Are you Winston from Overwatch? Hey, man, I could go for some peanut butter too. I'm not sure if we have peanut butter around here. Damn, peanut butter actually does sound good. So obviously, just keep them questions rolling, just talk, just have some communication and engagement. That's what I want. I want to kind of give back to you guys, make this little stream to just talk to you guys. I have a review coming out either tonight, because it's very close to being done, or tomorrow, that's going to be of the new Super M EP, the K-pop supergroup that formed this year with members of like SHINee and NCT, those bands. So yeah, that will be coming out either tonight or tomorrow. So do got reviews on the way. Do have some bigger videos on the way. Working on a Grindcore starter pack video. Have an interview coming out with Danny from Glass Crown. Just a lot of big things happening with the channel. A lot of worst to best album list coming. I want to get my worst to best for the band Death out. So, you know, a lot of cool stuff going on with the channel. And obviously, if there's any new albums that you guys are really interested in, that you think are really good, definitely let me know. And I'll give you, like, my opinion if I've heard them or if I'm going to review them or not. Because I hear so many albums. So many albums. I've said this before. Out of every review I get, you know, put out, there's probably, like, at least 7 to 8 records that don't make the cut. And I've thought before of doing kind of like a segment like Anthony Fantano does, kind of like Why You Know Review, which is where he talks about, records that he doesn't review for a particular reason. Maybe he just doesn't have that much to say about that record. So I could do some sort of catch-up series where I talk about albums that, you know, I didn't get the chance to do. Thoughts on Jopping? What do I say to that? I'm for it. Jogging, on the other hand, I mean, jogging's cool. I like a jog. My leg is messed up. Fun fact, if anyone wants to know why I started this YouTube channel, it's because I messed my knee up, and it hurt really bad, and I couldn't sleep, and I had beat around the bush, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to start a YouTube channel. Why not? Because when we jumpin' and poppin', we joppin'. Yeah, I've definitely had some good jops recently. Definitely. Trying to think if there's any, like, really good songs right now that I'm dropping. There's a lot from that Charlie XCX record, you know. I didn't cover that album, because I feel like what I would have to say about it, I've said before with other artists, to some degree, like Sophie Gion, if you want to check that out, you know, that record. Charlie is definitely an up and comer. Like, I know she's been making music for a while, but what she did on on Charlie was very boppy. Like, listen to, like, Blame It On Your Love. Or even that Kim Petras record, that new Kim Petras record, Turn Off the Light. Or her past record, Clarity, that dropped earlier this year. Those are a lot of, like, some good poppy bop albums if you guys want to, you know, do that. One job, one prayer for your knee, man. Well, yeah, you were around when that happened. You were around when that happened. You know the deal. You know the deal. The N-word. Hey! We don't do that around here. I'm just kidding, bro. Kai, you're a homie. Thoughts on dropping on it? Yeah. You guys. But what about you guys? Are there any albums that you guys have been, you know, really just enjoying recently? New, old, any songs that you're just really getting into? Trying to think if there's any other, like, news announcements type things. I want to start doing more episodes of track review because those videos are easier, admittedly, to make than album reviews. I love making the album reviews. I love sinking my teeth into records, but admittedly, track reviews are easier to make than album reviews because they're not as in-depth, and I'm usually able to just pound away at a track for a while and then just, you know, make a review, loose notes, all that stuff. It's a lot easier. Okay. 1349 review. Thinking about it, heavily thinking about it. I listen to, see, it's one of those things, like, I listen to so many records that, like, a lot of times won't make the cut. Very much, I can see myself making a 1349 review, maybe next week or the week after that, because I do think they have a very rough sound to them. I like their very rough sound, but I do think there is a surprising amount of dynamics, because a lot of bands in their genre I will just pass by. There's so many records that come out in that genre, but there's so many that just are lukewarm to me, so I don't know. What can I say except the N-word? No slurs. Don't do slurs, because YouTube will get mad at you for that. YouTube will definitely be mad at you for that. Hey, Elijah. Okay, apologies for butchering your name. Elijah Fessenden. I believe you're a newer subscriber because I have seen you recently. Did you hear the new Caroline Polachek album? If I remember right, you commented about that record and I put it on the list to listen to. I haven't gotten to it yet. I am going to check it out, and if I feel like I have, you know, something good, something bad to say about it, I will cover it. Haven't gotten to it yet, unfortunately. Sorry about that, but thank you for the recommendation because I didn't know about that record. I don't know if it's a band or artist. Haven't really looked too deep into it, but, you know, rest assured that whenever I do go to it, I'll do some research of it and see if it's any good. Alright. Let's see. I feel you. I've been digging it quite a bit. Yeah, Michael. I mean, that is a record that I could definitely see myself talking about. Victorion Bellaris. Please, God, tell me that's a Song of Ice and Fire reference. I'm sorry. I'll answer your question. Victorian, please tell me that is a Song of Ice and Fire reference. If it's not, that's fine, because his last name's Greyjoy in the books. I'm a nerd. What can I say? We have fun here. We geek out. Have you listened to Fit for a King? I have. Good taste. One of the best metalcore bands active. Yes, they are. Didn't they just drop a new record this past Friday? I'm wanting to say they dropped a new record this Friday. If they did, definitely expect a review down the line of that, because Fit for a King, really like their sound. I don't think they reinvent the wheel at all, but I think they are super fiery and have a lot of vigor to their sound and a lot of momentum to their sound and a lot of bounce to their sound. Like, they don't really miss out on being too brutal with their breakdowns and stuff, but they don't necessarily not have a melodic edge at times. Do you ever listen to old album reviews and feel like you have different opinions on it now? Yes and no. Every time I put out an album review, I'm perfectly fine with that because, you know, I groom my album reviews for a while. By the time they come out, I am pretty sure of my opinion of them because I do listen to records multiple times in anticipation for reviews. So by the time they do come out, I kind of have my ideas of them. There are some records that my opinion does change of them. Like, I remember originally the Sun O record, Life Metal, which they're dropping the second part of this month, Pyroclast. I wasn't that big of a fan of it. I shouldn't say I wasn't a big fan of it. I gave it a 7, and I didn't really like Between Sleipner's Breath, but it grew on me, and it became one of my favorite records of the year that I just keep going back to. I can't get enough of that record. Like I said earlier, Igor, I've kind of liked that more. Trying to think if there's any that have dulled. Maybe that Periphery record. I know I gave that, I believe, a 9. It still holds up quite well. I really do like that Periphery record still. It's definitely the best from the band yet, in my opinion. Never been a Periphery fan at all in my entire life. So the fact that I just had a brain fart. The fact that wow, I just had a complete brain fart of what I was talking about. Wow, sorry, rambling on, moving along. Yeah, it is, lol, it's my name if I lived in the world of Ice and Fire. Belarus is the only other known Dragonlord family name. Nice. Did you like the Game of Thrones ending? Do you watch Game of Thrones, or do you just read the books? Also, is that something that's known from the Fire and Blood, the novel that he wrote of the history of the Targaryens, or was that from the actual book series? Because I don't remember a mention of that name. Been digging a lot of newer death metal releases. It's been a fun time. Oh yeah, oh yes. There's been a ton of great death metal releases. I mean, death metal, I have listened to a lot of death metal from this decade, and obviously a lot of prior death metal too. This might be the best year for death metal in a while. I mean, last year was really good too, because you had like that Portal album Ion, which was amazing. You had the horrendous album Idol, which was amazing. But this has just been a sick year for old school death metal performed with newer finesse. Like, I really like that Mortiferum record. I really like that Coffins record. I really like the Tomb Mold record. Really enjoyed the Witch Vomit album. Really like that Engulf EP. Like, I'm remembering these because they stick out in my mind. If I go back like 6 months, maybe there are some records that have kind of slipped in my mind a bit. But there's so many death metal records that are really sticking to me, and there's still others that are being released that I just don't get the chance to listen to. $20 spin. If you are a fan of death metal, and you want some sort of old school charm with a very grim production and a very technical production and just a very mudcake sound, check out $20 Spin if you're a fan of very grimy death metal, because you will like that label, I guarantee you. Check out bands like Tomb Mold with their they released a record this year, Planetary Clairvoyance. Love the hell out of that record. You can also check out the new Witch Vomit record, Buried Deep in a Bottomless Pit. You can also check out let's see, there are just a lot of really, really great $20 spin. And also, Season of Mist has been really good with death metal recently. Profound Lore releases some really good death metal recently. I mean, it's really hard to say death metal hasn't had an amazing... I see you were talking about $20 spin right as I was talking about that, Michael. I didn't even notice that. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Nope, it's from the history book called The World of Ice and Fire. I knew that! Wow, I've completely forgotten about that, because I saw an interview with George R. R. Martin once where he was talking about like the illustrations, how he worked with some really, really amazing illustrators. The illustrations in that book are just immaculate. They are absolutely amazing. I'm not sure why I have my headphones on, by the way. I'm just going to take those off and set them here, because I do not need headphones, because I can't even hear myself anyway. I'm not playing my own stream, because if I did, you would hear the audio. So that's something. Okay. Called The World of Ice Fire, and I've watched the show. Hated the last season, low, but my love mainly comes from the books. Yeah, I read the first book before I saw the first season. So I kind of concurrently watched the show as I was reading, and it's so different. People that say that people either like, one or the other, there are genuine people that like one or the other, because they're just so, they're so different. the characters, the principal characters, your Daenerys's, your Jon Snow's, your Tyrion's, your Arya, Sansa, these characters, they're in both. They're in both mediums. But they're so different, because if you read, just randomly pick up an excerpt from A Dance with Dragons, the 5th book from A Song of Ice and Fire, and just read a little bit, I guarantee you there are going to be half the characters, if not more than half of the characters in each chapter that you haven't heard of if you just watch the show. The principal characters are the same, but the books are more fleshed out. If you want more straightforward and easy to understand political type things and war type things and, gerrymandering type of Nikolai Machiavelli type, themes, watch the show. If you want a tapestry and amalgamation of seamlessly blending plots in a big cobweb with just crisscrossing webs going all over the place with hundreds upon hundreds of characters, read A Song of Ice and Fire. That goes my rant with that. This was not a Game of Thrones stream, but it's turned into that. Let's see. Last year was a great year for tech death, specifically, but old school this year. You hit the nail on the head. Just like I said, Portal released last year and Horrendous released last year. Two of the most outstanding tech death releases to come out in years. Tech death is a genre that I am extremely picky with, because I either really like releases or I really hate releases. And it's kind of hard for me to find releases that are genuinely thrilling to me, because fast playing doesn't make you a good band. It doesn't. Because if playing fast and sounding as horrific as possible and disgusting as possible, then the biggest, most well-known, and most well-respected heavy metal bands would be in the porno grind genre, would be in the cyber grind genre, would be in the harsh wall noise genre, would be in the noise grind genre, they would be in the grindcore genre, the death grind genre, the gore grind genre. They would be the most extreme things. There are a lot of one-dimensional bands in that. There are a lot of good bands. Cattle Decapitation, Benighted, bands like that. Napalm Death, obviously Pig Destroyer. But there are so many one-dimensional bands that play really fast that certainly have prowess with vocals, with their instrumentation, but that doesn't make them a good band. It doesn't mean their compositions and their songwriting are good, because you can be really good at your instrument but still make atypical music with not much to it, not much flavor to it. That's bubblegum. It sounds super technical and super vibrant while it's on, but once you go away from it, it's just as blending in as everything else. Like, if you think about it, think about Unique Leader Records. I covered the Signs of the Swarm record recently. It was one of the last reviews I did. I believe the one before the clipping review I just dropped, where Unique Leader Records is blending together. And that's the issue I can see myself having in the future with 20 Buck Spin. 20 Buck Spin, I'm really loving the records they're releasing. But as time goes on, I'm not sure if I'm genuinely adoring each record that I'm hearing from Tomb Mold. I mean, not from Tomb Mold, from 20 Buck Spin, as much as the last. And I'm afraid it's going to wear off kind of like Unique Leader Records has for me. I love Unique Leader Records. In fact, Within Destruction, Death Wish, like, one of the best Unique Leader Records albums. Like, look at that cover. It's disgusting. This is a great album if you want to check this out. It's Within Destruction, Death Wish. It's on Unique Leader Records. There are some really great Unique Leader Records albums. In fact, this was one of my favorite records of last year. That's why I own it. Really love this record. But the whole overly slamming genre is just so overdone at this point. And it's lost a lot of the power, and it's lost a lot of the fury that the original bands in Slam did. If you look at a band like Devourment or something, where they sounded so gritty, they sounded so ferocious, and they had such tenacity, and their production was so gritty and so low that you felt transported to this horrific landscape. A lot of the bands don't have that now. A lot of the bands don't have it. If you look at an Infinite Annihilator, or if you look at Within Destruction, or if you look at Acrania or Analepsy or one of these bands, I enjoy all of the bands to some degree that I listed. It's just they're not living up to their, originality. And if you think about it, if you even look at Devourment's new album, Obscene Majesty, that dropped this year, that was a record that I kind of changed my opinion on a little bit as time has passed. I wasn't a big fan of that because I felt like Devourment was they had production that didn't fit them. Still darker, still grittier, still grimmer than, a lot of the other Unique Leader Records bands. They're still more gritty. Devourment's still very raw to some degree, very rigid with their sound. But yeah, it's just getting old, and I hope that there are a lot of genres like that right now that I feel about. There's always going to be releases that I talk about that are either really good or really bad. But if you look at genres like gent, if you look at genres like deathcore, and if you look at genres like slam metal and grind metal, and if you look at things in the porno grind and the cyber grind and the gore grind genres, and even the tech death genre to some degree, well, they don't need a resurgence. They just need some bands that are willing to push it out of their boundaries because they're getting comfortable and they're making just what their fan base wants to hear. And while that's fine, the longevity that could bring is scary to me. I mean, there's a chance that may not be that good of a mindset to have a good business model going forward. I'm a tech debt. The Peanut Butter says, Jay, where do you go to get information on upcoming new releases coming out? Sorry, a lot of questions, a lot of people coming in. I'm going to try to move as quick as possible. Sorry if I'm rambling. Sorry, I like analyzing things. What can I say? That's why I'm a reviewer. Where do I go for information? It's an endless war, like that Whitechapel album title. It's an endless war. Everything. Social media, YouTube, musical publications, labels. I follow, that's one major way, is I stay very, very up to date with all of the labels that I listen to, both mainstream and underground. I'm always following Metal Blade Records, Season of Mist, Profound Lore, Unique Leader Records, Century Media, Nuclear Blast, all great labels that I always try to say, I try to stay up to date with that. And then I'm obviously looking at different publications. It also helps because I have these calendars, documents that I keep upcoming releases and upcoming potential reviews, and then I kind of organize those accordingly to each other to try to make it easier on myself. I don't hear everything, though. Unfortunately, I wish I could hear more. I wish I had more time. I wish I could put out more reviews, but I'm one guy, and I like to go as in-depth as I need to. Some of my reviews are very short. Some are very long. Just depends on the record. Let's see. I'm a tech death junkie. Haha. Well, a death metal junkie in general. Hey, man, death metal's great. It's a kick-ass genre. You can't go wrong with it. Are you excited for the new Swans album, and how do you feel about the band overall? Love Swans. Think that people that say they're patience testing or boring or slow really need to kind of think of them as a different band than they're probably thinking of them. Swans, great band when it comes to experimentation. No one has vocals like Jira. No one. Michael is an amazing vocalist. The Glowing Man, I believe it was called. I really like that record. To Be Kind, that's also a really good record. But I will say this, caveat. You were talking about if I was excited for the new Swans album. The newest single was not that good in my opinion. I wasn't that big of a fan of the new single. And it's not even that stylistically different than what they did on their past records, even their last album specifically. I just think it felt more wasteful. It felt more patience testing than ever, kind of like a lot of people claim them to be. I don't think the progressions were as strong. I don't think that the vocals were as strong. I don't think that the production was as good or flawless or pristine or just sounding very lavish or atmospheric and building, this soundscape around you that you got transported into to go into that world. Don't think it really helped. I really do not believe that the new Swans track was their best. I think it's one of their weaker singles to come out for any of their albums. And I hope that's not reflective of what their new album's going to do. Definitely still going to be checking it out at the absolute least. I don't see a world where I'm not going to cover it unless it's just trash. And even if it's trash, I'll still cover it because I want to, point out the good and bad. Because every album, for the most part, has some good and bad on both sides. I'm super picky with the more brutal side of deathcore for that reason. Yeah, I mean, there's only so many times you can just That's my brutal deathcore band. See ya, I'll be here all week. That's every brutal deathcore band. That's literally every brutal deathcore band. Either that or it's like some gore grind, faux gore grind vocals. It's just like, and it's like so indiscernible. But it doesn't have the it doesn't have the rigidness or the rawness of what gore grind does. It just has the vocals with a really stellar production. And I'm sorry to be that guy that says production matters or doesn't matter, but it does matter. It really, does matter. It does. I personally think that it matters if a record is badly or well produced, and I think that bad production can help a record. I do. If it's a certain record, I think that a bad production can help. I mean, look at Igor by Tyler, the Creator. That's a record that a lot of people thought had bad production. I'm not one of those people. I was at first, I will say that, but it grew on me. Sorry if these comments seem... I missed some stuff. Sorry. Slam. Yeah, I need Sprite. Sup, dude. A lot of deathcore kind of feels like it's on autopilot at this point. Yeah, that's I think a lot of the classics are becoming shit. I mean, a lot of my favorite deathcore bands aren't doing too well. If you look at, like, Job for a Cowboy, they haven't dropped something in a while, and they went death metal. Suicide Silence sucks. They just suck. I mean, rest in peace, Mitch Lucker, and the main vocalist, Eddie. I wish him all the luck in the world. I hope they can come back and make another good record that's not like their self-titled record, because I don't think that experimentation worked. They tried too hard, and Doris just... Oh, my Lord. Wow, that... just went a little bit Jared Dines for a second, but it was terrible. It was so terrible. I will be honest with you. The more interesting deathcore bands are the ones that are willing to incorporate interesting progressions and interesting influences. Within the Ruins, I like that on their last record, Halfway Human, they're experimenting with clean vocals. I am super excited to see what they do. A lot of my favorite deathcore bands are experimenting with clean vocals, or if you look at a band like Whitechapel, who dropped their album this year, The Valley, that record has grown on me a lot. I just really, really like, I just love that Whitechapel record now. It probably will end up on my end-year list. Phil Bozeman, great vocalist. Love what he did on that record, and I've come to appreciate it more and more, that experimentation. And I get that purists might say that I am someone that is not an elitist, because I know there are some elitists out there that just don't think that it should be that way. But I don't necessarily believe you can just stick in that all the time. I don't think you can just have the same thing over and over and it continue to be interesting. You have to push it out of its boundaries. I think Despised Icons dropping a record this year, one of the classics of deathcore. Definitely going to be looking out for that one. Let's see. I actually have to scroll up a little bit. A lot of deathcore kind of feels like it's on autopilot at this... Oh yeah, I think I already covered that. Yeah, okay. Sorry if these comments seem random. I was typing them as you were talking. That's fine, dude. Sorry if I'm rambling. David B. Rockin' Music and Anime. Sup, dude? Welcome to the stream. Favorite old school visual K band from the 80s or 90s? That is a genre that I'm not that well versed in. I'm not that well versed in visual K. As much as I wish I was. I mean, if we're talking visual K in general, stereotypical answer incoming, I really like Deer and Grey. I do. Visual K is a genre that I need to get more into. J-metal and J-rock is a genre I need to get more into in general. I like a lot of rock and metal to come out of Japan, if we're talking like One OK Rock and bands like that. I like a lot of Japanese bands and artists, though. I really like Capsule. I really like Utada Hikaru. I really like Kyari Pamu Pamu. If you count Kero Kero Bonito, I know they're British, but I know the lead singer is, I'm not sure if she's Japanese, actually. She may not be. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I'm almost 100% sure she sings in Japanese, so I'm assuming she might be. But I'm sorry, that's not a genre I'm too well versed in. If you have any recommendations, though, if there are any bands or artists that you want to let me know of, go ahead and leave them, and after this I can go check some out, and might tweet about them on my Twitter or something like that, or might repost or something on my community tab or social media, something like that. Someone said, "in my butt after Taco Bell." I'm assuming that's when I was doing the death growl. Yeah, my gutturals could be better. I've been working on heavy metal vocals, but still have a long ways to go. Favorite 70s prog rock band? That's something I know about. David, thank you. Damn, you're diverse. If you went from Visual Kai from the 80s and 90s to prog from 70s. Okay, so some of these may bleed over into the decades, either to the 60s or 80s, but Rush is obviously a very essential prog band. Really a big fan of King Crimson. In fact, I am wanting to do a series where I talk about key releases that you should check out if you're wanting to get into the genre, or just essential records, not necessarily the best records, but records for beginners that can ease them into the genre. The grindcore one's going to be the first one that I do, which I have a lot of guests coming up for, like the Metal Meltdown and Roman Elias, and I want to let the rest be left up in the air. Love Pink Floyd, but they were one of the originators of prog rock. Velvet Underground, to some degree, they influenced so much. Go listen to Velvet Underground. For the love of God, listen to Velvet Underground. They are one of the most essential bands in general. The way they changed the landscape of noise rock and prog rock and punk rock, they were basically the most proto-punk band you can get. But Pink Floyd, love Pink Floyd, Rush and King Crimson, just some really great prog bands. Jethro Tull. Jethro Tull is great. I mean, Locomotive Breath, you cannot beat Locomotive Breath. That riff. Love Locomotive Breath. Jethro Tull. So if I had to make like a top 4 or top 5, Rush, Pink Floyd, King Crimson, Jethro Tull, and I guess the Velvet Underground, I would say, if you can count them that. But there's a lot. It's really hard for me to pick. My mom came to my room to check what was that noise when you were doing your vocals. Sorry, Shins, Mom. Sorry if that caused you an inconvenience. I don't know if to take that as an insult or a compliment. Gentle Giant is my favorite. That's another good one. That is another good one. I agree with you on the Valley. Yeah, the Valley's definitely grown on me. The Wanaguni, the Wanganui critic, just says bruh. That's a word of insight. If you're a hater, sup, welcome to the stream, brother. Welcome to the stream, brother. I hope you have a good time here. Go ahead and hit that dislike button if you hate me that much. Then why are you here? If that's why you're here. Sorry if you're not. David B. Rockin' Music. Check out Dead and Moriya's their vocalist. He is a very influential. Also check out X Japan and Luna CE. I've heard of X Japan. That is a band that I've heard from the ones that you listed. So thank you so much for the suggestion. I'll check them out after this. I really appreciate it. I want to do more overseas music in general because there are some great releases. Like, I really like that Shin record that released not too long ago. What was it called? Azalea. That was a good record. The Kyari Pamu Pamu record last year was really good. Like K-pop, the next review I'm dropping is actually a K-pop review. First, it feels like a while, but there just hasn't been that much I wanted to cover. Favorite dream pop and shoegaze artists? Okay, dream pop and shoegaze. My Bloody Valentine is obviously up there. Definitely essential for that genre. if you're carrying over bands, rock and metal bands that have influence coming from the worlds of shoegaze, I really like a lot of black metal and post-rock and post-metal that incorporate that. So like your Sigur Rós, like someone like Sigur Rós, like someone you could even say Godspeed You Black Emperor, like that they have that tendencies. But straight up shoegaze and dream pop, I would say My Bloody Valentine is probably my favorite if I had to choose one. If like we're just talking like my personal favorite, I think they have one of the more essential discographies from any of them. Trying to think if there's any other that like just I just go back to all the time. You know, if you can count Lana Del Rey in the dream pop subdivision, her new record Norman fucking Rockwell, good record, and that's the name of the album, Norman fucking Rockwell, and I didn't cover it, and I probably should have. I've been missing out on a lot of more poppy releases this year that I've come to appreciate later, but what are you gonna do? I only have so much time. But yeah, My Bloody Valentine's definitely my favorite. I like a lot of post-rock and post-metal that take cues from dream pop and shoegaze. Like I said, also like a lot of the black metal that do that. You know, Panopticon and Agalloch that have that kind of atmospheric approach and things like that. Okay. Favorite folk rock band. Ooh, I love folk. Don't do this to me. I love folk. Well, damn it. For those of you that weren't around, my favorite record last year was a folk album. It was Ylvisong's album, The Hunt. I'm a folk guy. Oh, damn. Stereotypical answer incoming. Stereotypical, Simon and Garfunkel, probably. That sounds so stupid. But, I mean, like, I just love Simon and Garfunkel. Like, bookends, they're one of the defined more important folk bands of all time, and their addition to the genre is completely insatiable. You really have to, you know, it takes a lot to kind of top Simon and Garfunkel. But folk artists, you know, another folk band with folk roots, Fleetwood Mac. You can't really go wrong with Fleetwood Mac's discography. Boasting some of the best vocalists in that field of soft rock and folk pop. Very, very good band when it comes to that very rootsy, grassroots type sound. Not necessarily bluegrass, even though some of their tracks can have bluegrass tendencies. And artists, I like Chelsea Wolfe, loving her new record, Birth of Violence, that one of the more standout folk records of the year. Actually, I think it's my favorite. I'll just come out and say it. Right now, it's in my top 10 albums of the year. That's just a little spoiler, but I like that record a lot. I like that she returned to her roots on that record. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to top My Bloody Valentine in terms of pure straight-up shoegaze. Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, they're so on another level when it comes to shoegaze. It's really hard to kind of, you know, outdo that. Fairpoint Convention is my favorite. Check out their album called Liege and Leaf. I'm assuming you're talking about the band for Visual Kai. You talking about Dead End, or I'm assuming. If you're not, then just let me know which band or artist you're talking about in case you're referring to something different. David, what have you done? You've broken the man. Sup, Cameron? What's up, dude? Yeah, I'm broken. I'm kind of tired, not gonna lie, but, you know, I didn't want to go to sleep. I wanted to do a stream. I've been beating around the bush about doing a stream for weeks, and I just thought I would go ahead and take the plunge, the leap of faith, and just try it out and see if you guys like it, because what could really go wrong? And, you know, it's turned out really nice in my opinion. You know, I just gotta hit a point of when I'm so tired that I just do stupid things, because One thing about me, if you get me tired, I will do stupid things. Can't tell you how many times I've done stupid things when I'm really tired and it's really late, and then I regret it the next day, but kind of laugh at it because I'm just like, how did I make that mistake? But yeah, my computer just randomly turned on. There a ghost in the room? My computer just randomly turned on over there. I had it turned off, and it just randomly, I'm over here, it's over there. Why did it turn on? I'm not going to worry about it. Okay. Let's see. But I do prefer bands that incorporate those sounds into metal and black metal. It can be absolutely amazing, but a lot of redundancy there, unfortunately. Yeah, one of the big issues is like when you get black metal bands that think that incorporating anything folk is good. Like, excuse me. You know, you can't really... when it comes to black metal with folk influences, there's so many redundant bands that just incorporate acoustic guitars or some banjos or some chimes or bells and will make tracks that are way too long than they have any business being. You know, excuse me. Like, right now, there are 3 albums. Wow, sorry, excuse me. 3 albums this year that got 10s. Hell Young's album, Futha. Swallow the Sun's album, When a Shadow Was Forced into the Light, and Sayer's album, Forgotten Paths. Forgotten Paths is a really good example of folk that is incorporated into black metal. It's a one-man project, and I can't stop going back to that album. It's so beautiful. It's so, so, so good. Started World War 2.5, I guess. Nah, you're good, dude. Stream has been cool. Yeah, thank you, Michael. I'm glad you have enjoyed it. David B. Rockin' Music and Anime says, oh, Fairpoint Convention, they're a British folk rock band from the 70s. They have a fiddle player. Nice! Nice, a fiddle player within... Wow, that could be neat. There's a lot of great folk with, like, banjos and fiddles. And, I mean, you can't get much more grassroots bluegrass from where I'm from. I'm literally in the heat of the Appalachia. You know, this is where this is my turf. Maybe that's why folk is embedded in my veins. That and the fact that I have a lot of Scottish in me. Is that maybe that's why I just love folk so damn much, but I really do. It's a great genre, a lot of great subgenres. I love when it's incorporated smartly into, you know, that. Michael Purnell, I was talking black, gaze, and post-black, not as familiar with folk. Yeah, that's what I was meaning, is, you know, folk that's incorporated within black metal. Sorry if I phrased that poorly, but kind of like that Sayer album, you know. If you want some really nice post-black metal, check out that Sayer record this year if you haven't, that Forgotten Past. I'm pretty sure you did back when I dropped my review. And of course, well, actually, in the mid-year list, you said that you hadn't gotten a chance to rate it yet. So if you haven't, definitely check that one out. Otherwise, the Numenorian album that released this year, Adore, I go back to that quite often. That's just more straight post-black metal. That doesn't really have folk metal elements, but it's still really raw and really fun to listen to. So we are coming up on the hour mark, so I'll probably end it around an hour. Just send in, you know, last burst of questions. We'll stay here as long as there's still questions coming in, but once it kind of dies down a little bit, you know, we'll go ahead and start wrapping it up. But as long as you guys got questions, ask me anything from, you know, opinions on bands, opinions on artists, new albums to check out, my opinions on albums or bands. Literally anything goes. Just get creative if you have anything. And obviously, let me know if you want to see more of these streams in the future, because if you guys want, I will surely do more of these, because, you know, my commentary is pretty bad. I'll give you guys that. But it's definitely fun to kind of free associate, because I don't really have loose notes. Not that I script my videos, I just have loose notes. So this was just kind of very raw. This was just me talking to you guys. So, finger guns, you know. I'm a very kind of anxious guy, you know. Not too fond of just randomly getting in front of the camera. Let's see. I Feel Ya Holmes. Yeah, I checked it out and love it. Yeah, Sayer really was great. These Straubs are pretty good too. They've transitioned from bluegrass to folk rock to prog rock and glam. Rick Wakeman was a member. I'm not familiar with Rick Wakeman, but I will check out the Straubs. Thank you very much for that. You've hit me with a lot of great recommendations to check out after this stream. Very excited to look into all these records. So it looks like the stream's starting to kind of slow down a little bit because I was saying it was going to end and all that. So I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. So I'm just going to thank you guys so much for tuning into the stream. If you've made it this whole stream afterwards, if you're on YouTube and watched it, thank you so much for, you know, watching this stream. I really appreciate it. It's kind of the first... I'm not used to doing streams. I used to do a lot of streams like a year and a half ago, back when I did gaming. I would stream Fortnite and Overwatch and World of Warcraft, and I just talk, and I even did some of those when I started doing music reviews, but I stopped because I just didn't want to do them anymore, if I'm going to be honest. Like, a lot of them did well, it's just I didn't have a place for them with my new formula, with my new channel. I rebranded my whole channel, you know, so it was kind of... difficult for me to find a reason to stream, but it's really awesome that you guys took to it so nicely and came with all these awesome questions and recommendations. Hopefully I'll be doing another one, like, eventually. I'll be on the lookout. Check my community tab. Stay up to date with my community tab. Definitely, you can, I highly suggest checking my community tab because I often update and often send stuff. Also my Twitter, all that good stuff. And I usually will let you guys know when I'm going to stream. I also have a Discord channel that you can find in the description of all of my reviews and stuff. So if you want to go join that, I added everyone and all that. So definitely check out all that stuff. I will give you guys the hint before I stream. Just be up to date and all that. And if you see it, just, you know, keep your eyes peeled, ears peeled, all that good stuff. Share this on the Jarek Discord. Sorry that it's ending. I'm really sorry. I'm sorry about that. I think most of the people are kind of heading out, and it's about an hour now, and I think I've had a good run, and I'm not sure if I'm not sure if I'm going to blow my voice out, or if I can keep things interesting, because I'm not that interesting of a person. That is one misconception. People like me for my reviews. They don't like me for me. Maybe. I would assume that. I don't know if my story is, you know, the most out there and outstanding. But thank you all so much for tuning into the stream. I will talk to you guys next time. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and all that good stuff. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, and like this video if you enjoyed it. Obviously, share the channel. Your guys' support recently, I cannot thank you enough. The growth has been amazing. The views have been great. I've just loved talking to you guys, and the fact I've been able to build this community, just amazing. And, you know, the fact I was... Oh, I shared this before I joined. It's okay. All right, thank you. I was hoping you didn't share it, like, right now, right when I was like, all right, we're ending it. But, yeah. But I just, you know... let's see. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, it's just really cool that I've been able to build a community of people that just love nerding out to music. I love music, and that's why I do this. I don't commit myself to things I don't enjoy. If I don't like something, I quit that. I cut that out of my life. I don't stick to things that I don't really enjoy or don't have a place for. This is something I love doing, and I love talking to people because I just love, you know, sharing things I do, and, it's great to have a creative outlet that you can do whatever you want for, but when you actually have people that care, that when you actually have people that are listening, when you have people that are watching, it's really awesome, and I love this little tight-knit community that I made. So, obviously, look forward to some more reviews coming up, big videos coming up, maybe more streams coming up, got Worst to Best coming out, that Grindcore Starter Pack video, the interview coming out with Danny of Glass Crown, and all these reviews, so I'll talk to you guys next time. But, bro, your personality is cool, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't, and then David said same. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it. So anyways, guys, I'm going to be signing off. My name is Jay Morris, the Review Guy. You know who it is. And I'm signing off for the first official stream of, I believe, this year. Farewell. Let's go ahead and stop this bad boy. See you later.